Hi everyone, welcome to Appliance Advisors. I'm Francesco, joined by Dennis. Today we're going to talk about milled versus mitered countertops and how that can affect your appliance install.
Yeah, an important one. So milled counters, what are they? Milled counters are I think it's important to understand standard counter height. Standard counter thickness is generally 1.25 to 1.5 inch. 1.5 material is more often what you see. Okay, milled countertops are popular down south and became very popular everywhere in COVID. Milled is where they take 1.5 inch material, cut it in half to 3/4 inch. So very clean,
Low profile,
modern. It has an aesthetic value some people like, for sure. A lot of times down south, it's great. Well, that's what's called 2 cm material or 3/4 inch, where they would sell you a piece that's a little thicker for a backsplash and have that unified piece, and they can price it it's cost efficient, saves a lot of money, and it's a clean linear design. And then there's what's called mitered, which is the exact opposite. It takes standard material and beefs it up. So it's a piece of material cut at 2 pieces of material cut at 45s, and they do a beefier edge on the front of it. And then they build up the material under the counter to give it this look of being substantial. A lot of people like it on islands. A lot of people like it throughout. It can range anywhere from 2 inches to 2.5, 3 inches. I mean, I've seen it all over the place, but it's what's called mitered. So we just wanted to give that education, and then we wanted to talk about really how those things can have a major effect on your appliances, the appliance installation, sign-offs, permit sign-offs by local inspectors, and all the things to consider, because there's a lot of things people run into.
Because you look at any of these not even just appliances, but codes and things like that. Everything kind of is based off especially when you're looking at like hoods and upper cabinets, the distance of that countertop to the bottom of the hood or to the bottom of that upper cabinet. Now, certainly if you don't have a standard countertop size, that can affect a lot of that. So
let's talk about the standard. The standard is standard cabinets are 30 inches tall. You have American cabinets, a 4-inch toe kick. It ends up generally all built up together to be roughly 34.5 inches. It's kind of like an industry standard raw cabinet height when it's on your ground. And then you add 1.5 inch material, which is an industry standard, and that gets you somewhere right around 36 inches, which is considered a standard countertop height. So manufacturer's dimensions always run on a 36-inch standard height. Okay? So to your point, is you mill those cabinets down, those counters down, and go below the standard, and you go from 36, and instead of 1.5 inch material, you went to 3/4 inch material. You're now 35.25 to your counter height. The flip side to that is if you beef it up, you've done the exact opposite, and now you're no longer at 36 inches. You might be 36.5, 37, so there's considerations. So what are the considerations?
So on the milled, so now we're talking about the low profile, the shorter one. So now what happens?
So when you mill things down, the important thing to think about is actually, you got to think about you as a consumer. What's going to bother you? What do you like the look of? Seeing a clean, linear, thin countertop, you might love the look of it. Is it gonna drive you nuts though when it comes to your range, and your range now sits up much higher than your clean, thin countertops? So that's issue number one.
Because the range itself may not have the ability to get to lower as low as those countertops.
So this could just be information for somebody buying a spec home that a builder is doing, and they're doing 3/4 inch material. A lot of times you see it in condos or in the cities and whatnot, where people are trying to go for that more modern look. Just considerations, would that drive you nuts and bother you? They're also saving money doing it. It's a cost effective, but it may be design related as well. The next part of that would be, so that it would be that many times the appliances are planning to be 36 inches tall, and you've gone under that, so you see the sides. And most of them can't level below 36 inches. That said, there are some that can. So you want to think about if that's going to bother you. Do you find a range that has the ability to maybe be anywhere from 35, have adjustable legs to go up or down, okay? Conversely, you take a popular range like a wolf range. A wolf range is 36 and a half inches. There's the lowest height it goes is 36 and a half inches. A lot of people didn't know that. They just assume it's 36. Now, if you get home in a standard counter, you're gonna see a half inch of the wolf standing up, sitting up. Good designers, clean linear design. That is where mitering comes in. And people might wanna soften the edge of those appliances or that wolf range, and they beef things up, okay? So now they can add a half inch to 36 inch, inch and a half stone, add a half inch to quartz, whatever it is, and now you're at 36 inches, and you got your nice level, 36 and a half, and your nice level, right? So here comes the problem.
Exactly, yeah.
Think about how people buy counters. Many times, not all the time, but many times you go to a cabinet shop, pick out your cabinets. 50% of the time, that cabinet shop does or does not do the installation of the cabinets. So let's talk about the one that it does not. You take that, and now you go and give that to the builder, and he has your schematic. And remember, everything at this point is drawn with showing 36 inches of height, because that's the industry standard. And it shows them where the cabinet height should be measured. And he's looking at the specification, or she looking at the specification of how high, and they're making their adjustments. And many times those cabinets go in. So then you buy your cabinets, you've given your builder the plans. He starts to do all his rough-ins, everything based on standards, and will start to think about when the cabinets get delivered, installing it. You then go and pick out counters after cabinets traditionally. 50% of the time it is not done in the shop in which you bought the cabinets. You go to a specialty counter store. When you go to the counter store, now you fall in love. You see all these different things, thinner counters, thicker counters. Let's do the worst case. Let's talk about the thicker counter for the minute. So we want to mill up. Someone determines, hey, we're going to spend the extra money and make this look chunky. I like that bigger look. It's something for me. And you add an inch to it. And now your counters, remember, the builder has a drawing planning for 36. He's planning, everything was planned for a 34 and a half inch cabinet with an inch and a half inch standard material, creating a 36 inch space. You now do 2.5 inch material. Let's say it's 2.5. You add an inch to it because you want it substantial. Now you're at 37 inches to your countertop height. At 37 inches, that gets lost in translation. No one thinks half the time to go back to the builder to say, whoa, wait a minute. Don't hang your cabinets assuming that it's 36 inches, because we added another inch of counters. Everyone believes that's church and state, like that's separate, and those are separate conversations, because think about how kitchens then go. Traditionally, builders or the cabinet installer installs the cabinets, tile backsplash goes in, rough-ins for the appliances are already there, and then your counters are like the last thing to go in, one of the last. At that point, many times we see this a lot in hoods. Hoods, specifically when it's a wood hood, they will give you very specific standards, and the industry standard is generally 30 inches above the top of your counter to the bottom of a quote-unquote combustible or to any wood material. Well, if you were at 36 inches and we added 30 inches, we would have started, this hood would have been at 36 inches. That's where it should start, that cabinet. Or that hood should start. The combustible shouldn't be any lower. When you add an inch of material, I never told anyone, those cabinets are in, and now you're at 29 inches. And depending on that inspector in that town, that spec is going to say 30.
Absolutely.
And they can shut the whole thing down. Now think about what then happened. You're looking at this kitchen being like, I'll tell you how it happens. This is just how it happens. They call us immediately. Can you talk to the manufacturer and see if he'll write me a letter and say that it's acceptable instead of 30 to have 29? What's the difference of an inch or blah, 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 blah. Manufacturers aren't taking on any combustible liability if your house burned down. So you are dead stuck. And then what happens is now you're talking about ripping out your upper cabinets. Your backsplash more often stopped at the cabinets. It didn't go up behind the cabinet. So you got to rip out backsplashes. Like this 1 inch that was just something that was beautiful and you were so excited about can have a massive effect on the ultimate design And the same is true, conversely, if things get lower, generally we're still within clearances. So if you did a milled counter and you opted the opposite way and went below standard in height, not the end of the world, but you just want to consider how that will affect your counters.
Correct. Yeah, and it's one of those things, it's like, again, you don't really consider it until it kind of comes time to see that. Now you're doing the measurements and there's not a really good solution there if you're kind of fall into that. So absolutely something that you just need to be aware of. Again, one of those things that we always talk about, like we talk about cabinets in a different episode, something that we do show in the stores as well too, that really help to educate the consumer and our salespeople and all of us to show kind of those different countertop styles and heights. And we'll show these as well kind of in the video here. So just a really kind of good way to learn and kind of see what those differences are.
And not to scare you, because I absolutely love the mitered look. To be honest, if it was my kitchen and I could do it, I'd do mitered.
Yeah.
It's just something, again, to think about where you're buying them, being educated, and hopefully having that aha moment and being able to see those options within your appliance selection period and kind of thinking about how the effects of those things so that you can start to formulate your design, and then ideally that appliance salesperson dovetailing tightly with your trade, which is your builder, your designer, your architect, to make sure that everyone's one cohesive unit and that the end result is exactly what you were hoping it to be.
Okay, that's great. So that's gonna do it, I think, and hopefully you learned a little something about different countertop heights.
And don't forget to follow us on social media for appliance tips and updates from Yale Appliance.
Your feedback is what shapes our series. Like what you saw, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you.
Stay informed and inspired on all your appliance needs. This is Appliance Advisors signing off.